500 varieties of species in that area surrounding that time-space distortion in those lands that you call Antarctica. Some are there by experiment, some are there by choice and survival. Some feel that they're stuck between worlds even, but there is more than one type of being.
Are they what we would call extraterrestrials, ETs?
Yes.
Are they down there so that it's kind of hidden, so to speak, from the world, that there's nobody annoying them?
There are also unique dimensional portals that are utilized by the Alpha Draconi and human beings in your governments. There are Alpha Draconi shapeshifters who are in primary roles of power in your planet who run these programs, and they utilize these portals to hide spacecraft that have landed, to hide any intervention that has been happening upon your planet for the further nature of control of you. And they experiment on the beings that they have captured, and they hold them in these underground situations. But also, it's not exactly underground in the earth. It's more of a shift in the time-space continuum, a portal. And then in that realm, you shift and you move into a different dimensional world where all of these beings are held. And it would be underground there, but not underground in the third density land. Do you understand?
I understand.
Yeah, that's why no one can find it.
So is there ever going to be any disclosures about this?
There are plenty disclosures in 2033 concerning people accidentally stumbling upon some of these portals in Antarctica, in Mount Shasta. The Mount Shasta portals are ours in collaboration with the Agarthians, which are inner earth beings. You are aware of their function in their galactic realm Talos, and in their function in their Agarthian realm in inner earth. But it isn't in the core of earth. That isn't scientifically possible. They have to go through the portal, which has to be accessed by raising a vibration in order to be able to become aware of that. So even those who perceive or can understand how that works would be surprised to know that there would be some realm of fifth dimensional earth who has been aware of that. You're accessing the portals, you understand it. You go upon those lands, you walk the lands. Many of you would not be shocked by those disclosures at all. But when these disclosures arise because humans are stumbling upon it and lifting their consciousness, or because they become victims of some of the experimentation done in these realms of both Alaska and Antarctica, then they are deeply concerned. You have both malevolent and benevolent Sasquatchian beings in Alaska. There are 3 portals in the deep forest there. Some of those beings wish to take you into those portals knowingly so, because they don't care for humans. And they understand what humans can do to desecrate a planet. Some of these beings that are Saskatchewan in nature are vibrational beings that are elusive. Not necessarily loving or unloving, just a very high vibrational being who has unique agendas. Some wish to help, some wish to harm. Some wish to serve, some wish to be left alone. You need to be able to hold all of these different derivatives of truth in your hands in order to understand the interdimensional disclosures on your planet that will arise between now and 2033. At times, your government will allow for these disclosures to become public so that your heads will turn, and then they can continue to control you in other arenas while you're not looking. You need to be aware of all of these truths and hold your vibration loving and strong. There would be no way that we would completely come in and take over this channel's life in the way that we have if powerful things were not coming for your planet. And some of those things you need to be aware of. You need to train your mind, body, soul constructs to hold your vibration in a space of service, compassion, love. You need to be working with your graces, and you need to be of service without burying your heads in the sand or claiming that we are attempting to make you afraid. That is another form of resistance. You wish to know about the future, and yet you don't. You can understand the frustration that some of the extraterrestrial beings have with humankind. You wish for our assistance, but then when we tell you what is arising, you don't like it. What do you want from us?
Thank you, Guitar. Very good answer. Really, really interesting. Could I just add to that and just ask about what we call the Bermuda Triangle? Is that another portal?
Mm-hmm. It is his house.
Yeah. And do people physically disappear from there into a different place?
Yes. And you're so curious. And some of those realms, they can go anywhere. That portal can go anywhere based upon the vibration that you hold. It doesn't just take you to positive places.
So they obviously can't come back. Or can people that travel there and get caught in different places come back? Or do they?
They typically don't, because they don't. Once you shift into a different vibration, you become attached to it and conditioned by it. You believe in the time-space distortion, and you believe in the circumstances. You hold a strong belief that it is very real, and then you become attached to that, those unique memories, those constructs that lure you in. It's incredibly confusing because you think that you're going to a portal and you're assuming that you're going to another realm. But many humankind are not really in the vibration or setting forth the energy components that would demonstrate the vibration of another realm. So how could you attract that in the use of a portal? You will attract the use of a parallel environment where all of your other family members, all of the other yous, all of your brothers and sisters, all of your world is the same, but there will be some very differences.
Okay.
Some differences in perhaps the home you choose, perhaps the jobs you hold, perhaps the way that you handled situations would be looked upon differently. For example, the last time we observed someone stumbling into, and we say stumbling into because you generally are that unaware, we do not wish for any insulting nature in that. What we mean by this is that you're unaware of your own power. So when your vibration is generally running amok and out of control, whether it's a low vibration or a high vibration, it matters not. It's a strong vibration. Whether you deem it a vibration of hate, a vibration of fear, a vibration of love, that's not the point in understanding how attraction and resonance transpires from your laws of physics and ours. You are powerful beings, powerful beyond measure. So in this state of power, when you walk around with, say, a miracle in one hand and a bomb in another, which one is going to go off first? Which one will be utilized first? This is how out of control the human consciousness can be. You are running amok with so much power, and it can go in one direction or the other. So if you, for instance, were going back to the last time someone stumbled upon in unawareness of their power, they held a lot of grief, a lot of pain. And this was just a normal husband, father, in a certain sense. And he was running a project that you call the Homestead Project. And it was about geomagnetic forces and environmental weather shields upon your planet in 2015. So we will unveil this for you now. He was terrified of being murdered. And in one realm, he attracted that because of everything that he knew about the US government and their explorations of weather. and how much harm had been done. They were creating a project that would allegedly be helpful, but it was harming people, and that was called the Homestead Project. In his third dimensional realm of fear, on one hand, he was worried about being murdered, and he was, and it was called a suicide. All the information that you could find about this project was yanked from the internet in 2015. So in the other realm, when he went out into the open ocean and he explored, he thought, what would happen? And this is how powerful you are. He just wondered for a moment what would happen if he had not chosen to be a part of the Homestead Project. And in this unique instance, he had a chance to look at that. He was between worlds and that portal opened. And then he got a chance to look at his life. And this wasn't an afterlife experience. This happened before his murder. He had a chance to look at his life on that 15-day vacation in the Bermudas when he stumbled across the portal. He thought, gosh, I'm going to be murdered if I come back. I just feel I'm getting threats. I'm going to get killed. But what if I didn't go back and a portal opened? And he wasn't the only one. There was another family member upon that ship. All this information is deeply buried in the annals of governmental control. But regardless, they disappeared. They disappeared. Their entire ship disappeared. But to them, it looked like a brief moment, a blip in time. Something that would happen, say, if the power went out in your home and all the lights glitch, but then they come back on. That's what going through a portal feels like. It's quick. It's painless most of the time. And in this unique situation with this unique portal, he felt that glitch. And he said to his friend, the skies look funny. Will there be a storm? And then there was a blip. And he forgot everything about all of his conditioned memories in his life. And for that moment, he just continued just to play around in the oceans. He said, oh, there's a storm. When he reached the other side of that portal, everything looked the same. The water didn't change. The sky still looked stormy, but it was a parallel realm operating in such a small amount of time-space distortion surrounding his former third density realm where he would get murdered. So he switched timelines momentarily, went through the portal, all because he wondered, what would happen if I just leave this field of work? If I take this boat home and I quit? And he did. And that's what portals are like. He went home. He did not end up getting murdered. All of the above in that realm. In that realm, he is still alive. Has had another kid by now and a grandkid, and the murder didn't happen. But there is a fractionalized portion of him that still exists in the third density realm as the person who was murdered. Because you can't see or become aware. You will create a story for those that you love, all of your soul family members, and maybe it would be that you would get murdered. Your soul would create that story, but your human consciousness and the beta waves of your brain and your thinking patterns are definitively unaware. You're unaware that you died in another realm. This is what a portal could possibly do if you're unaware, and you will be stuck living in that timeline, and other timelines will be forced to contrive a story about where you have gone. Now, what does that happen when collectives of people, like the very popular Malaysian flight, go through a portal? In the very center of a realm, they are all alive somewhere. This will blow your mind because your mind is structured around this reality only. How can they be alive and dead at the same time? You'll say, wait, wait, wait. In the 3D, the news found that plane and it was disintegrated on this island, wherever it was, somewhere in India or wherever it was, right? But then in another parallel realm, every single one of your loved ones are alive, living their lives with other versions of you. But because separation has contained your mind so strongly, you don't even believe that there would be another version of you. And this is the delicacy of what we encounter when we attempt to explain what's happening in the Ascension experiments. Yes, you're going to another Earth, but some choose to stay exactly as is. And many of you will create stories surrounding what happened to the loved ones that move into that other parallel realm throughout these various portals. You will say they died, or whatever story you choose to create to account for it. Or you will say, I don't know what happened to them. I don't hear from them ever. I even tried to call their phone number. And then you'll create a story to justify that. Oh, well, perhaps they just moved on. Life does that. Oh, well. This is the justifiable nature of ascension because your psychological constructs cannot handle otherwise. You cannot measure or scientifically evidence the truth of what we are sharing with you, and yet you dismiss it.
Well, that is seriously interesting, Katara. Yeah, my brain half melting and half not. That's really, really interesting. And I love your explanation about the different densities and people moving and making, creating stories around that. It explains it really well. Thank you for taking the time to explain that to us. The next question is, what technologies that you provided, have you provided recently, have seen the amazing rise? I'm sorry, which technologies that you provided recently have seen the amazing rise by 2033?
The technologies that we have brought, again, we are you. We have been incarnating as humans on your planet for a very long time. Therefore, you are the visionaries and the pioneers who are inventors. But you are the shamans, the healers, the musicians, the mystics of the planet. And many inventions and inventive endeavors have been created from you. And yet you want technologies that seem to come from extraterrestrials that you believe are not you. We have versions of ourselves who have not incarnated into humans, but we are still recovering. We are still gently nurturing our planet and attempting to build life on 3 other planets. But don't worry, it won't be yours. Many of you believe that extraterrestrials wish to come to your planet because we need to procreate with you or we need your lands. Why would we need that? Your science is the most limited that we have ever seen. Your degree of love, not so strong. Your degree of hate, even stronger right now. But our family is you. And that is how much we love you. Your planet is a living, breathing being. And she is cosmic. She is indestructible. You may dream up whatever you wish to destroy her, but she would only be honoring your dream and then she will regenerate again. Please know that. Please understand that the gifts that we gave you were gifts that were incorporated into your consciousness, not gifts that we flew down from a spaceship. Although we do take beings upon spaceships, and we can tell you all about that if you wish. We don't typically come down with technologies and give them to your governments because your governments don't like us. Your governments are primarily malevolent and reptilian. They want utter control of your time-space distortion and of your earth and of all the laws and intricacies of those conditions so that they can continue to persuade you to stay broken and powerless. But you cannot enslave a god. You don't see that about yourselves yet. You are prime creators in your parallel realms and deepest mastery in other cosmic origins. Hopefully, upon the times of the Great Remembering, which began in year 2033, you will receive powerful flashes of consciousness. You have called this event the solar flash, which has been spread out because your realm of time is dense and slow. It is slowed down. You wouldn't be able to handle it if all of you had an instant flash of awakening consciousness and suddenly you remembered. Therefore, as creators, you slow down the time-space distortion to incorporate these truths and to remember your power slowly, safely, lovingly, in a way that benefits your mind and body